Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you to bow your heads in prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to guide us in all of our discussions, to show goodness, honesty, understanding and wisdom in all that we undertake for the benefit of the City of Joondalup and our residents. May we respect each other's views at all times, and we ask all of this in your name. Amen. Nala Kadich, Wajak Murit, Kain Kardak, Nijabuja. We acknowledge Noongar people as the original custodians of this land, and I ask you to please take your seats. I officially declare this council meeting open at 6:30 p.m. In accordance with the recording and live streaming of council meetings council policy, this meeting will be video recorded and live streamed on the city's website, with the exception of confidential items and periods of adjournment as determined by the presiding member. Cameras have been positioned in such a way as to avoid members of the public. However, by being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the possibility that their image may be live streamed to the public, and recordings will also be made available on the city's website following the meeting. The official record of the meeting will be the written minutes kept in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Now, before I proceed to the next agenda item, it is the practice at the City of Joondalup that any Freemen present are invited to join me at the seat at the front here, should they wish. So I understand that one of our Freemen is here tonight, and if she would like to join us, please invite her to join me down the front for the meeting. Now, because this is my last meeting, if you can indulge me, as Freeman Edwards makes her way down, I have been keeping a memento in my office the whole time as Mayor, and when I found out this morning that Freeman Edwards was joining us, I thought I would present it to her, given it's her first meeting joining me up the front. She doesn't know I'm doing this. Freeman Edwards, I have what is the only photo of the 4 Liberal Environment Ministers of this century all together. The only one. Please. Thank you. Now, first item of business is declarations of interest. I have a number of declarations and I will work my way through those. First of all, for myself, for item 12.6, list of payments, interest that may affect impartiality. I work for Thompson Gear Lawyers. I do not work on City of Joondalup matters there. Secondly, I have a declaration from the CEO for item 13.1.2, the CEO salary review. This is a financial interest as the CEO holds the position of Chief Executive Officer. Similarly, one from the CEO for the concluded annual performance review for the CEO. Also a financial interest because Mr Pearson holds the position of Chief Executive Officer. A declaration from Director Parry for item 13.1.1, which is the annual performance review of the CEO. This is an interest that may affect impartiality as Director Parry has an employment relationship with the CEO, and a further one for the salary review of the CEO, again by Director Parry, again due to the nature of Director Parry's employment relationship with the Chief Executive Officer. Are there any other declarations, councillors? If not, you'll see on your agendas, if you're following them, deputations. That was dealt with at briefing sessions. So the next item of business is public question time. Now, there's a set of procedures which relates to public question time, and I'll request that you follow my direction at all times. You'll have an opportunity to ask 2 questions. Your questions should be directed to the Chair and also asked in a polite and respectful manner. Please state your name and address for the public record before asking your questions. Members of the public are also reminded that candidates who have nominated are requested to identify themselves as an election candidate for local council prior to asking a question or making a statement at a council meeting. As is our practice, we maintain a register for public question time, and I will commence there and call forward first Ms Mary O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, councillors. Question 1. My petition in relation...
Ms O'Byrne, please just name and address. Thank you.
Mary O'Byrne, 123 Glencoe Loop, Kinross. My petition in relation to the implementation of a new performing arts and cultural vision within the city of Joondalup was accepted into this council on the 10th of October 2017. Subsequently, the petition was returned to Council's briefing agenda August 2020, almost 3 years later. There were in all 5 applications for deputations at this briefing, including my application. Why was mine, the only deputation application, denied at this meeting when there were 60 easily divisible minutes available to the presiding officer? Each of the other deputation applicant groups were given 15 minutes each.
Thank you, Ms O'Byrne. We'll take that question on notice. Do you have a second question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question 2. I'd like to congratulate the City of Joondalup for its openness, transparency and accountability in its dealings with residents. But first, I'd like to understand how it was possible for this chamber to reject my door-knocked Marmion Sorrento Laneways safety petition on the 21st of the 9th, 21. Then subsequently at the same meeting, have a re-elect member substitute in their own notice of motion on the Sorrento Marmion Laneways with almost the same wording as the rejected door-knocked Laneways petition. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms O'Byrne. I can't answer for the individual reasons of every councillor. Thank you, Ms O'Byrne.
You had the deciding vote
Thank
on
you,
that,
Ms
Mr.
O'Byrne.
Mayor.
Thank you. Mr Paul Lakius. Apologies if I got that wrong.
Thank you, Mayor and councillors. Paul Lakius, 14 Parkhurst Rise in Badbury. No question, just a thank you to the Mayor and councillors for your service over the last, well, since 2017. I'm representing a group of members, about 2,000 constituents from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where Mayor Jacobs has been kindly, over the years, donated much of his time to come and participate in events that we've put on. One most recently, over the last 2 years, are called Giving Machines, and they are operating in the Joondalup shopping centre. And they happen every Christmas for the last 2 years, and it's happening again this year, where we have 6 charity partners and 100% of the donations that the public give go to the partners. Mayor Jacobs have been kind enough to launch that event each year. And so on behalf of the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we thank you, Mayor, and that is all that I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Lakius. Ms Michelle Kwok.
Good evening. Michelle Kwok, 15 Preferable Ocean Reef. The first question is relating to last week. Asked a question on page 17, the question 2 asked last week. We were told that the weed management activities report will be tabled in December council meeting. Now, is the report expected to come to council meeting after discussion at strategy session?
Director Klassen.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the initial report will be presented to elected members at a strategy meeting. Unfortunately, the Acting Director Infrastructure Services was under the impression that it will go straight to council. No, it will not. So that will be corrected. It will be in the new calendar year.
Thank you. Second question. This is in relation to previous questions on councillor attendance at the Development Northern Australia Conference and the Australasian Coast and Ports Conference was approved under Clause C, F and G of the Elected Members' Entitlement Policy. These clauses refer to training related to the role of elected members or local government-specific workshops and forums. Could the city please clarify specifically what training content at either of those conferences related to councillor duties or as required under the policy?
Thank you, Ms. Kwok. I've just spoken to the CEO. He will take that on notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Noting that we do have a public statement time after question time, and we have a full register for that, I'll just very quickly ask if there are any other questions. If not, declare public question time closed. Thank you. Next item of business is public statement time. There's a set of procedures which relates to public statement time, and I'll request that you follow my direction at all times. You're able to make a statement for up to 2 minutes. The statement should be directed to the chair and be polite and respectful. No question or discussion will occur at the end of your statement. And please, again, come forward and state your name and address for the public record before making your statement. As is our practice, I will work through the register. That will probably expire the time that we do have. So just, I will start first. And I want to acknowledge, and I waited until now, it's a huge honour, and I'll speak more on it soon, that the mayors of our two neighbouring cities are here, and I'll speak more to that relationship, but I call forward first Mayor Mark Irwin.
Thank you very much. Mayor Mark Irwin, City of Stirling. His Worship, the Honourable Mayor Albert Jacob, councillors, Freeman, Mayor Aitken, executive staff and members of the gallery. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight and acknowledge the remarkable achievements of your Mayor Albert Jacob. Elected at the same time as Mayor Jacob in 2017, our neighbouring councils have shared meeting cycles of Tuesday nights for 8 years, and hence our paths do not cross on these occasions very often, if at all. I find myself in a very privileged position this evening with a cancelled meeting to be able to speak on behalf of the Stirling Council and our community at the final meeting where Mayor Jacob presides. With 3 years as North Ward Councillor before being elected by your community as the inaugural member for Ocean Reef in 2008, your roots in community came from a local level and understanding. And with stints as Parliamentary Secretary for Community Services, Seniors, Volunteer and Youth, you're always destined to continue this genuine service to our community. As one of the youngest ministers ever appointed to the West Australian Parliament, your appointment as Minister for Environment and Heritage was a resounding endorsement by the Barnett government of trust and belief in the passionate and polished young politician you were, and still are. In 2017, following the abolishment of the seat and a challenging state election, you succeeded Troy Pickard as Mayor and you have never looked back. I've enjoyed immensely the journey of the last 8 years, not only watching your success, but in supporting your vision for a better Joondalup and becoming good friends along the way. Whilst we often come from competitive local government spaces of funding, bragging rights or light-hearted jibes about population growth, our sporting clubs or controversy, it is clearly apparent that Joondalup is a heavyweight with its clear vision and passion for its community. From an incredibly ambitious and successful events calendar, a thriving business community with exceptional economic development support to the bold projects like Ocean Reef Marina, Whitford's Nodes Park Warrior Course and Duncraig Adventure Hub, Joondalup has thrived under your leadership, Mayor Jacob. More importantly, in a sector that is often headlined by dysfunction, you along with your council have helped to bring strong governance standards and stability to the sector. As one of the most qualified individuals I know of, your career in law will no doubt be a continuation of your strong desire to make our community a better place. Albert, you have stayed true to your beliefs and values. Your love for family is evident, and through 20 years of public life, I know Cecilia and your children have been hugely important to your journey, and you all make a great team. On behalf of the wider community, and as your favourite neighbours, I thank you for your service to Joondalup and everything you have done for local government. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mayor Irwin. Mayor Linda Aitken.
Thank you, Your Worship, Mayor Jacobs, and I'd like to acknowledge all the councillors here tonight, the staff, the Mayor of Stirling and their councillors, and my fellow councillors here from Wanneroo and all of the public here. You know, I have a little bit of a different view of Mayor Albert Jacob. I was on committees at Kingsway Christian College, and we used to spend hours praying for our children at Kingsway Christian College. And Mayor Albert went to Kingsway Christian College, and he was one of the fruits of our prayer when he came through in public service and represented our community as an honourable man working hard to serve his community. I see him as an answer to prayer. I see him as a continued answer to prayer as he moves forward. He took the challenge when he became a councillor, one of the youngest councillors here at Joondalup. He took the challenge to run for state parliament. And when that finished, he took the challenge again and ran for the role of Mayor of Joondalup. And in doing every one of his challenges, he succeeded with his goals and his dreams within those challenges. He had exemplary service to our community, which he will continue. But not only that, and I'll just remind everyone, the city of Wanneroo birthed the city of Joondalup back in 2000. So this building here was paid for by Wanneroo ratepayers. And I'm glad that the city of Joondalup enjoy it, but the city of Wanneroo see you as a blessing to our city. See the city of Joondalup as a blessing to our city as we work together. And I see the city of Stirling as a blessing to our city as we work together in three cities. But not only that, I just want to honour you, Mayor Jacob, for the support you gave me when I first became mayor, for the confidential statements and the encouragement that as mayor, and Mark has done the same, we work together and support each other. I wish you all the very best, Mayor Jacob, and I wish your family who have sacrificed, and I know what the sacrifice of family is in having a father and a husband who has done these exemplary roles. And now as you transition to a different and quieter stage of life, as you support your dreams through environment, I just wish all of you a blessed future and thank you for your service to the city of Joondalup, to the city of Wanneroo and to the city of Stirling in the northern suburbs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Aitken. For our next statement, Mr. Rick Hurst.
Thank you, Mayor Jacob and councillors, and thank you people for listening to me. In regard to petition 11.2, with regards to abandoning the council's proposed footpath in Birch Place, let me say this, the residents' view, it's unnecessary, insufficient consultation, unwarranted expenditure. Looking further at life in Birch Place, living in a small cul-de-sac or a discrete local area, we tend to become almost family. We treat the roadway like a mall. As such, kids playing or walking casually in the road are just what happens and what we expect. We do not wish to encourage through traffic, be it pedestrian, cycle or e-scooter. Whilst appreciating the need for such a major business as Joondalup City to make decisions and perform efficiently without having to clear their decisions with each and every ratepayer, the city must consider a policy which takes into account the social dynamics of people living in discrete local areas. Understanding the social dynamics of country districts was the key to the WA Department of Agriculture's success in fostering development of land care in WA. So to sum up and recap, a waste of money, not needed, not wanted and not consulted. Suggest that Joondalup City adopt a policy to consider local area social dynamics and in situations such as this issue, then the local council member be encouraged to arrange local group meetings where and when relevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Hurst. I'll call forward as well Mrs Ann Hurst. If not, Mr Lindsay Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to make a brief statement about the recent Standards Panel finding, Kingston versus Local Government Standard Panel, file number 1448 of 2023 refers. And I do so as a person who's followed politics for the last 5 years as an independent journalist. When the West Australian reported the findings back in September, what stood out in the article was the reaction. A core group of the Council of Kingston supporters immediately claimed that it was a smear campaign aimed at damaging his mayoral campaign. That response and the online pylon that followed actually reveals something.
Sorry, Mr Bennett.
Clause 8.
Councillor Kingston?
Yes, under Clause 8 of the procedures for public statement time is that a public statement is not to reflect adversely upon an elected member. I did not ask people to attribute that the findings of the SAT was a public smear campaign. And it's asserted that I have. So Mr Bennett's statements are both false.
Mr Bennett, if you've made any assertion that Councillor Kingston instigated that, can you please withdraw?
So I withdraw that. I don't believe I have. I'm simply stating facts from the particular findings of the case.
I will at the pause also ask if you can just declare your name and suburb, please.
Sure, Lindsay Bennett, Edgewater.
Thank you.
So I make 2 points in relation to this. Firstly, that I've read the findings in full. And secondly, I know that in relation to how slow the legal system takes relating to finding of particular matters, that it takes some time. It was not a matter of 2.5 years in relation to grubby politics. It was simply a matter brought on by Councillor Kingston himself because he appealed the matter after the first instance of finding of guilty on no less than 6 different issues, and that was 6 different issues.
Sorry, point of order.
Point of order.
Yeah, it was not 6.
I think, well, that's not a valid point of order, Councillor Kingston, but I think where the statement veers into comment on your actions, I think it does veer off. So I'd ask you please to refrain from commenting on Councillor Kingston's actions in this statement, Mr Stevens. Mr Bennett, sorry. Thank you.
The panel found that there was an appeal that questioned their jurisdiction to hear the matter. And that takes time to do that. What you subsequently have is a core group of supporters who have targeted every mayoral candidate online under a Facebook page that purports to wake up Joondalup. And what you have here is every single mayoral candidate has been targeted bar one, and there would be no guess as to who that person is. So, do you want to object to that? Okay. So in relation to, so what you have is, the elephant in the room is simply this. You have, by circumnavigating the standards panel, it's now come down to you get a Facebook group to do the work for you because they're not subject.
I think I will have to.
That is definite adverse reflections.
Yeah, I think I will have to ask you to cease your statement at that point, Mr Bennett. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, on what basis?
I think Councillor Kingston is correct. The way that I have ruled statements is that there is an inference there that Councillor Kingston has instigated or at least influenced the actions, and I think on that basis I will need to ask you to cease the statement. Thank you, Mr Bennett. Thank you. For our next statement, Philippa Taylor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I first met Albert in 2006 in this very building. The occasion was my Australian citizenship ceremony performed by Councillor Russell Fishwick. He was the Deputy Mayor at the time. After the ceremony, we were introduced by Trony Young, who is sitting here, And we had a celebratory drink and meat pie, as is the custom at the City of Joondalup after a citizenship ceremony. 2 years later, in 2008, Albert won the inaugural seat of Ocean Reef for the Liberal state government. So the councillor position for the North Central ward was now vacant, which I then won in 2009. So I got Albert's old job. In 2013, I was after Albert's job again, this time for the state government for the state seat of Ocean Reef. And as we all know, Albert won again with a massive majority, and he went on to become the Minister of the Environment and Heritage. He was only 33, so this made him one of the youngest ministers ever appointed to WA Parliament. The two political parties, the Liberal and the Labor, are colloquial, I can't say that word, can I? You know what I mean? Referred to as the blue team and the red team. So after Albert became our mayor for the City of Joondalup, people would often ask me, what's it like working with the opposition, someone who you stood against? And I would always explain that local government in Western Australia is not party political. It's not party political, and it's definitely not in Joondalup. Well, it wasn't when I was a councillor. So Albert put all that aside, and we always each voted as we saw fit on a particular item, sometimes the same and sometimes different. Now, during Albert's work as the Minister of the Environment and Heritage for the Blue Team, he had professional interactions with two of my adult children who were both working at different times for the Red Party. Albert was always very interested in their careers as he was familiar with their work environment. And this was so genuine and refreshing. On a number of occasions, he offered advice, and he also gave huge support when it was needed. And this was greatly appreciated, Albert. And this is what I would like to thank Albert for the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. James Rowe.
Thank you, Mayor Jacob and councillors. I won't take up too much time as I know there are residents here who want to make a public statement. In addition to Mayor Aitken and myself, Councillor Herridge, Councillor Miles and Councillor Wright are here from the City of Wanneroo, a couple of more, and we could have had a quorum here tonight for our own meeting. Mayor Jacob, I was only elected 4 years ago, so my interaction with you was when we both studied at the University of Western Australia together. Your mentorship, your friendship and your guidance during that brief period was so warmly received. So I just want to acknowledge your leadership and your service tonight and wish you and your family all the very best for the future. Also to acknowledge your councillors who are standing for re-election in their own wards, Councillor Fishwick, Councillor Chester, Councillor Hamilton Prime's running for Mayor, Councillor Pitsey, Councillor May, Councillor Jones, Councillor Kingston, I think I haven't missed anyone, and Deputy Mayor Hill. It's a difficult job, I believe, being an elected member in a complex environment that local government is in. I believe the elected members here work incredibly hard, so I wish them well in their futures, one way or the other, what happens on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rowe. David Hudson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councillors, administration. I'm David Hudson, Chairman of Harbour Rise. I live at 42 The Corniche, Hillaries. Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the committee and the residents of Harbour Rise, we would like to thank you for the wonderful job you have achieved in making Joondalup a vibrant city and one we are all proud to be living in. We wish you and your family full success and happiness in the future. We would also like to wish Councillor Hamilton Prime and thank her for all the support over many, many years and wish her good luck with whatever she decides to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Hudson. For our final statement, Mr Mike Diamond.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also a resident of 15 Birch Place and a signatory to the petition that was put forward vis-a-vis the footpath. I recognise the amenity of a footpath. The footpath is 2 metres, which is significant and would have a significant impact on my front, the front portion of my property. It seems unnecessary as the foot traffic through Birch Place is minimal. The access to the school at the bottom is not something that's used very much through Birch Place. And from our point of view, the footpath seems to be a spending option rather than a necessary amenity. And of course, for us as residents, quite disruptive. So from my point of view, I would sincerely hope that the council would find other necessary infrastructure that would benefit from the income that could be shifted from our footpath into something else. Associated with that, the footpath was a safety option, as one was intimated in the letter that I received, as in the crossing of Maryvale to the primary school. One of the issues with that is the speed with which vehicles come up the hill to the crest of Maryvale, which is more or less opposite Birch Place. If it's open for suggestions, some sort of speed hump on either side of that crest would provide some safety for people, particularly students, crossing Maryvale at that point. So something to think about in the future. But the footpath, I think, is totally unnecessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Diamond. The next item, that concludes public statement time. The next item of business is apologies and leaves of absence. Councillor Raftis is on a leave of absence and we otherwise do not have any absences or apologies for tonight's meeting. Are there any requests for a leave of absence beyond those on the screen? Councillors? If not, Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 5th of November to 7th of November inclusive, please.
Thank you. Any others? I'll seek a mover then for the motion for those 3 behind us, before us. Moved Councillor Hamilton Prime, seconded Deputy Mayor. By a show of hands, those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is the confirmation of minutes. Do I have a mover that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 23rd of September be confirmed as a true and correct record? Moved Councillor O'Neill, seconded Councillor May. Is there any question or comment on the minutes? If not, I will put that motion by a show of hands. Those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously as well. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to move a motion to suspend standing orders to allow elected members and the CEO the opportunity to farewell retiring elected members, if I may. Thank you.
Thank you. So moved. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Seconded Councillor May. By a show of hands, those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you. I'm privileged to say a few words this evening in honour of our Mayor, Albert Jacob, but it is also a bittersweet moment as he concludes his 8-year tenure leading the city of Joondalup. Albert's time as Mayor has been defined by vision, integrity and a deep commitment to community. Under his leadership, Joondalup continues to shine as a vibrant, inclusive and forward-thinking city. From championing sustainability and innovation to enhancing public spaces and supporting local business, Albert has left an indelible mark on our city's landscape and its people. He has led with calm resolve through challenges and with great pride through triumphs. His ability to bring people together across council, community and business has been one of his greatest strengths. The Ocean Reef Marina was his priority when he came into the role, and with the support of the state government in realising the vision for this project, he can now look forward to seeing it come to fruition in the coming years.
Wherever we look around our city, for example, the community sporting facilities at Chichester Park, exciting projects to come, including the redevelopment of Burns Beach foreshore, his work championing major upgrades at Sorrento Surf Lifesaving Club and Heathridge Park, or the expansion of community safety initiatives, Albert's imagination and initiative is evident in many of our recent achievements. We've also been committed to protecting and preserving the environment, and this was underlined by the city's success in winning 2 major honours at the 2024 International Association of Horticultural Producers World Green City Awards. Our cultural footprint has also flourished, led by the Joondalup Festival, winner of a prestigious Australian Event Award in 2023. As Deputy Mayor, and on behalf of the Council, I thank Albert for his unwavering service, his leadership and his friendship. We wish him and his family every happiness and success in the next chapter. Tonight is the end of an era, but the legacy he leaves will continue to shape Joondalup for years to come. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any further comments on this? Councillor Fishwick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have been requested to read the following statement from the city's former CEO, Dr Gary Hunt, PSM, as in his role at Bustleton as CEO temporary, he's not enabled him to be present this evening. So this is what Dr Hunt has said. It's been my pleasure to know and work in association with Albert Jacobs since 2006. When I first met Albert, he was a young, aspiring community representative who demonstrated talent, enthusiasm, commitment, and willingness to engage with the community and to represent their interests. He demonstrated professionalism of the highest standards and an ethical approach to everything that he did. He was quickly recognised for his talent and became a member of State Parliament within a brief period, a minister in the state government as well. He embraced the portfolio of environment with a keen eye to the community needs in the area of conservation, as well as recognising the need for development, which is beneficial to all sectors of the broader community. His time as a minister was followed by 2 periods as mayor of the city of Joondalup, where he served and led the council with respect and a deep sense of commitment to the community. It was my pleasure to work with Albert in a number of ways over a 15-year period, and I wish him and his family all the best for the future. Dr Gary Hunt, PSM. I would now like to make my own comments and reflect on the contribution our Mayor, Albert Jacob, has done. I first met Albert in 2006 when he arrived at a How to Become a Councillor information session wearing a t-shirt, jeans with no knees and thongs. My thought was that he looked far too young, but just after a few minutes of conversation, I realised appearances can be deceiving. He was knowledgeable, enthusiastic and deeply committed to our city. On being elected, Albert became our youngest councillor. We often joked after meetings about whether he'd finished his homework for school the next day. But behind our humour, it was clear that he had vision and determination to help restore Joondalup's reputation. Albert's political journey has been outstanding. He served on council, then entered Parliament in 2008 as the inaugural member for Ocean Reef. In 2013, at just 33, he became one of the youngest ministers in WA, overseeing environment and heritage. His legacy includes the creation of the Department of Parks and Wildlife, the Kimberley Science and Conservation Strategy, and the Heritage Revolving Fund, initiatives that will endure for generations. In 2017, Albert returned to where it all began, Joondalup. As Mayor, he's led one of WA's largest local governments with distinction. A standout achievement was securing bipartisan support for the Ocean Reef Marina, a project overwhelmingly backed by our community. Under Albert's leadership, Joondalup has grown into a thriving, innovative, community-focused city. His strength as a presiding member comes from his deep understanding of meeting procedures and all the legislation that local government needs to adhere to, always ruling fairly and with authority. When I reflect on great leaders in local government, Albert Jacobs stands proudly among them. Albert, thank you for your service, your vision, and your unwavering commitment to Joondalup. Finally, I wish you and your family all the very best for the future as you begin your new chapter in life in law. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fishwick. Councillors, are there any further comments? Councillor Hamilton-Prime.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This evening marks the conclusion of Mayor Albert Jacobs' term, and I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank him for his dedicated service to the City of Joondalup and our community. Over the past 8 years as Mayor, Albert has provided steady and considered leadership. He has guided the City through a period of significant growth and transition, ensuring Joondalup continues to be recognised as one of the West Australia's most liberal and progressive cities. Throughout his time on council, Albert has demonstrated professionalism, integrity and a genuine commitment to the people of Joondalup. His calm and thoughtful approach to decision-making has fostered stability and collaboration across the organisation and amongst his colleagues. Having served alongside Albert for many years, I valued his collegiality, his respect for due process and his dedication to delivering sound outcomes for our community. And on a personal note, I know Albert, and there have been many comments said about the youngest council, and I had absolute delight in pipping you to that at 19 in 2009, and I appreciate your support and personal mentorship around that time. You know, it's been a great 16 years, and I think the City of Joondalup has absolutely shone under your mayorship, and I, as a deputy mayor previously, absolutely learnt so much from you. And obviously during the interesting COVID years, it was a very interesting time indeed. I extend my sincere thanks and best wishes to Mayor Jacob for his contribution, leadership and years of service to the city, and thank him and his family for the sacrifice they have made as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor May.
Thank you, Mayor Jacob. I wasn't aware we'd be doing this, so I'm speaking a bit off the cuff, but unlike many who've spoken tonight, I've only had the pleasure of knowing Albert since 2017. And at the time when we were both candidates for council and mayor respectively, I was involved in and supportive of a former bitter rival of Mayor Jacobs, being a former member for Hillary's Rob Johnson. And so obviously when we both got elected, there was a bit of divide between us, I suppose, and it didn't take long for me to really get to know Albert, judge his character, and the fact that very quickly we were able to signal that we were able to work together and achieve things for our communities on a united front. And subsequently, over the years, we've formed a great friendship, and Albert's given me plenty of advice, and we've disagreed sometimes, but it's always been in a respectful way, and I think all of that is a testament to Albert's character. The fact that you can disagree with someone and not hold it against them and not assume that they have bad intentions, but you work together with people regardless. And it's very, very sad to know that Mayor Jacob won't be here after October, but I wish him, Cecilia and the whole family all the best, and I hope we can all stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor May. Councillor Jones.
Albert, you've left the City of Joondalup in a better position than when you found it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. If no further councillors wish comments, Mr CEO.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And Mr Mayor, I wish to echo the sentiments expressed by the Deputy Mayor and your colleagues on the council, as indeed expressed by many people in the public gallery this evening. As Chief Executive of the City of Joondalup, I've had the privilege of working closely with Mayor Albert Jacob. The Mayor has brought to the role a combination of strategic vision and genuine care for the community, coupled with an appetite for action and respect for good governance. His collaborative approach has encouraged the administration which I lead to deliver with confidence, clarity and with purpose. During his 2 terms, we've seen major infrastructure projects come to life, a renewed focus on arts and culture, and a strong commitment to environmental sustainability. The Mayor has been a steady hand through times of change, including the uncertainties of COVID, and a passionate and effective advocate for Joondalup on the state and national stage. He has never lost sight of the need to stay in close touch with the people of our district and to maintain and improve the quality of the day-to-day services provided by the city on which our ratepayers, residents and visitors rely. I am proud to have helped the Mayor and the council he has led achieve great things for the people of our community through sound strategy, powerful advocacy and strong administration. There is a deep appreciation amongst city officers for the Mayor's personal qualities, his humility, his thoughtfulness, and his dedication to public service. He has always listened with consideration, acted with integrity, and treated staff with respect. He set an example which I hope will continue to be followed by our elected members, including our new Mayor and councillors. On behalf of the city's administration, I thank you, Albert, for a job very well done and for a legacy that provides a strong foundation for the council, the city and community to build a bright future for Joondalup. I'm proud to have served with you, glad to call you a friend, and wish you and your family the very best for the future.
Thank you, James. Council, I propose that Council resumes the operation of Clause 4.3, Order of Business of the City of Joondalup Meeting Procedures. Local law proposed, seconded Deputy Mayor. By a show of hands, those in favour. Those against, declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is announcements by the presiding member without discussion. This actually gives me great latitude, which is why I put it back on the agenda, and I've never used it until tonight, the latitude that I get. After starting here in 2006, May 2006, nearly 20 years ago, I'm profoundly grateful and very proud to be able to leave at a time of my own choosing. They say it's always better to go when there are people who still wish you to stay. And for those who've made the time to be here tonight, you have no idea how much that means. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I hope, as I say a few words, I'll get a chance to mention some of you. I won't be able to say all of you, but all of you are here tonight are very special to Cecilia and I. I leave after my greatest win. As Councillor Taylor, I think former Councillor Taylor, reflected, did lose in 2017, the state election, but then came back here 6 short months later with the greatest turnout that the City of Joondalup had ever had in an election, and my re-election in 2021 was a record result for which I'm profoundly grateful. I leave now because I know that I've kept my word along the way. We've delivered Ocean Reef Marina. Delivered a freeway extension. 2 freeway extensions. We've delivered Joondalup Health Campus upgrades and many, many more projects, including some smaller ones compared to those big ones, but still worth the fight, and things that I have a grin on my face when I drive past, like Mirror Park Skate Park and Chichester Park as well. And one that I will mention, because I know I have a very special representative here from that organisation, the Men's Shed, an issue that vexed this city for many years and now have a great home in our industrial area, and the Burns to Mindari dual-use path. Sometimes you start in local government and think things are easy. That one took 10 years, but here we are. So Ocean Reef Marina at 15 wasn't doing too bad. All of these were worthwhile projects, and all of them met strong resistance. All of them met strong resistance. Part of the reason they took the time that they did, and now that they're open, I don't think anybody, or very, very few in this community, would go back. I want to start by saying, while it's a privilege tonight to reflect on 20 years of service since I started in this place and my last 8 years as Mayor, I had the chance as Mayor to build on a phenomenal foundation. Because this was truly a broken place when I came in 2006. I know Councillor Fishwick, Councillor Hollywood, Councillor McLeaning former Councillor Young and the staff from that time know that very well. This really was a broken place back then, and we saw it get rebuilt. And that foundation, Mason, was laid by your father. And seeing you in the audience is a real treat. And getting to spend a day with you when you did work experience at the city in my final year is one of the highlights of this year, and still something I reflect on. Troy Pickard laid a phenomenal foundation in this city, and it's a legacy you and your two sisters can proudly walk in. And it's one that we have been privileged to build on to where we are today. Today, the City of Joondalup is in the healthiest financial position that it has ever been. Cumulative rate increases over the last 8 years are approximately half that of CPI. So over these last 8 years, CPI is approximately double that of the cumulative rate increases of the City of Joondalup. Yet we now stand as a city with zero debt as of April this year, sharing with Sterling the lowest rates in the dollar in Western Australia, our neighbours to the south, and we now have savings the equivalent of a year's worth of rates. There's more work for the rest of you to do going forward, but that is the healthiest set of books that the City of Joondalup has ever had, and I don't know if the City of Wanneroo, when we were a combined entity, ever had a set of books that good. We had an entire year's worth of rates in reserves, the lowest rate in the dollar in the state, along with Sterling, I will acknowledge them, and zero debt. But it isn't just about that, it's also about the strongest pipeline of works in the city's history. I touched on some of those big projects. I've never been shy to dream big. I got into this because there were some big projects I wanted to see for the community. All that have been delivered in partnership, and I'll touch on those partnerships along the way. But those dreams, for the most part, have become a reality. So I'd say to those continuing in this place, do not dream small. Do not dream small for this community, because this isn't a community that dreams small. City of Joondalup virtually didn't exist when I was a kid growing on a farm in Wanneroo. The population's tenfold what it was. This is a city populated by people who moved here from all over the world because they saw potential, they saw a future for themselves and hopefully for their families. They came here because they are aspirational, and Joondalup should dream big, and the residents of Joondalup respond to that. There's a saying that's always stayed with me, one from my dad, who unfortunately passed away shortly after I started here 20 years ago. It's the one saying he said to me over and again, which is, if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well, council. People will always tell you you can do things cheaper. Of course you can. But you should do them responsibly, but do them well. And I'm talking here about Sorrento Surf Lifesaving Club, the Heathridge Park redevelopment, the Burns Beach foreshore, and above all else, the Joondalup Performing Arts Centre. When I look back after 20 years, what we do well, we are always proud of. There's always resistance, but it's worth that. I'm going to use the opportunity to touch on a personal side. It's my last chance in a public forum. And it was very appropriate, some of the questions and statements that we had. I opened my maiden speech in Parliament with a declaration of faith. That attracted a fair bit of interest at the time, and what I considered some very skewed and twisted criticism. I hope that what I meant by being clear about the fact that I'm a person of faith and it guides me in my values is clearer now. Because I thank the amazing people of faith throughout this community, and the City of Joondalup is a city of people of faith. Not necessarily the same as me, either denominationally or same faith broadly. It's a city of diverse faith backgrounds. But what I can tell you as someone who's probably come under more attack in that area than any other is that people of faith have always been the first who've come out to support me across different faiths. And I've built some phenomenal relationships, and one today from a strong community here and also right across different faith walks of life. That's who we are as a community, and it's still a deep part of who I am. I'm imperfect, I'm always a work in progress, but it's part of who I am. In leaving today, it's also because I firmly believe, and this comes out of my faith, that life is about who you become and about what you leave behind. It's about the impact that you have on others and your community. It's time for me to take a different step in my own personal growth journey, and also it's a time where I can look with pride on what I've left behind, and I'll finish on that a bit more. Another secret tip, I will say, because this also speaks to our community, they are an active people. The Whitford's Nodes Health and Wellbeing Precinct, but also the engagement we get from the 300 or so sporting clubs across the city. And I can tell you, and I please say this to all elected members or aspiring elected members, fitness is important. Fitness is important in this job going forward. My own choice of fitness, I'm proud to say, while it's in the city of Joondalup and a thriving community, is not one that's been subsidised by ratepayers, but I don't think I could have done the last 10 years, or the last 8 years, without the community from Lacey's Boxing Gym, and I want to give a shout out to them, and also Fast 30, James, Nat, and that crew, and Cecilia knows who I'm talking about. Now, while I, by nature, prefer individual sports, politics is my chosen team sport. Philippa, when you spoke about there not being party politics in local government, you're absolutely correct. There are many people in local government who are members of political parties. Most around this table who are members are quite open about their membership, but it doesn't define how they stand and represent for the City of Joondalup community. And one of the greatest joys about local government is that ability to work with people from whatever political walk of life with whom you share a shared aspiration for this community and can deliver a great result. I want to acknowledge the MPs who I've been able to work with. Paul, it's a privilege to have you here as a neighbouring member. For a long time, we were the only two members of Parliament who lived north of Burns Beach Road. And then that's continued in the city of Wanneroo. But also members on the Labor side, with whom, while it was a bit nervous at the start, I think we've built really strong relationships, and that has also led to, of course, the Ocean Reef Marina, but a lot of other projects around this city. Council, if I can leave you with advice, it's work with the government of the day. If you're a member of a different party, great, be open about that, and nobody has a problem with that. They might tease you about it sometimes, but if you're open and honest about it, all good, as long as you are genuinely working for the community. It's never been an issue. Often council candidates get nervous about talking about political allegiance. It was easy for me. I used to be a member of Parliament, so the answer was pretty obvious. But it is very important that you work with the government of the day. And if you disagree with the government of the day and you're an elected member, if you disagree with the government of a different tier, you must do it respectfully. Equally is the relationship of our councils, our neighbouring councils. It was a surprise to me to have both Mark Owen and Linda Aitken join us tonight, and I want to acknowledge the 3 councillors from the City of Stirling who are here, and the I think 4 councillors I can see from the City of Wanneroo. I won't try and ping names from the gallery, because it's very important that we continue to work together as neighbours. This has been important for projects that I've already mentioned, like the coastal path in Mindarie and the freeway extension, but also other projects like Stirling's Boardwalk. I think it's very important to the Joondalup residents. Mark, it was great to see the result you got in public consultation. It's the perfect example of a project that is hard to fight, but is worthwhile doing, and will see, or has already seen, phenomenal community support. It is to our community's benefit, it's been to the Northern Corridor's benefit for decades, Freeman Edwards, that the northern suburbs, whether we fought elections, council, federal or state, there has been a unity of vision of what we've been trying to deliver for this corridor, which other corridors of Perth have not had. And that, to me, has been one of the greatest strengths of this region. In particular, as a parting reflection to the Joondalup Council, Wanneroo is such an important relationship because they do wrap around us, and now as they start East Wanneroo and soon Carraboota District Structure Plan, the success of Wanneroo is the most essential ingredient for the success of the City of Joondalup, and in particular, the City of Joondalup's CBD. I've been so proud to see the close and supportive relationship that we've had, and I think it's gotten better and better over time. Please place that one very highly. I do want to thank all of the councillors, in particular those who I started with who are here tonight. Tom and Kerry, to see you both here is a real privilege. Philippa and Trona, also, who we all shared the North Central Ward, which Councillor Kingston and Councillor Jones now have the privilege of serving. And Councillor Fishwick, you are the last of us, the last of the class of 2006. I think it is good. Well, what happens on Saturday night will happen on Saturday night, but it is to Joondalup's benefit if you are still around this table, because I think understanding that history and having seen this place be built from the ground up is an important insight. A round of applause for that, please. I do want to thank the community members who've worked with me. I'll always work with somebody who wants to work with me. David, thank you for your statement. So many community representatives. Greg and Tina, to see you here. Now, when I first ran as a councillor in 2006, they lived about 4 houses around the corner from me. I'd never met them before, and they contacted me and said, what can we do to help? And to see, we've both moved houses a couple of times since then, but to see you both come we hadn't even met, by the way. These weren't neighbours who we knew at the time. But other neighbours, Neville and Sharon, we could not do this without the neighbourhood support that we have from all of our neighbours, and it's been a real strength. It's been a real strength for Cecilia and I as well. Sam, I do want to give a quick shout out to you. You also were one of the first people who contacted me back in 2006, and we've stayed in touch ever since, and you always have your finger on the pulse of ocean reef issues. Oh, my notes have disappeared. I shouldn't have gone down that road of thanking individual people, but there are some individuals I very much need to thank. To Mike and Mike, my father-in-law and my brother. I didn't expect to see either of you here. It means a lot to me that you are both here. And the support that you've both given me from day one is so valuable. Thank you. Mum, you just know we couldn't do this without you. Thank you. I'm going to touch on Cecilia in a second, but you're my other secret weapon, and it is a big sacrifice. Any aspiring council members who have young children, it's a lot of nights and weekends. One of the councillors, I think Councillor Jones, asked me over dinner, what are you going to do on Tuesday nights? That's going to be the hardest thing for me, is coming back to having my Tuesday nights. Cheryl, I don't know how you adjusted back, because you wouldn't have had Tuesday nights ever either. We're actually going to keep the kids sleeping over at Mum's house every Tuesday night for a while and try and figure it out. We've already arranged that. But I want to touch on the 3 most important people. First of all, my greatest secret weapon, the secret weapon to my electoral success, while it is a team sport and everyone who's here has made such a big difference. Hazel and Pat, I cannot go on without thanking both of you, actually, and all of the staff. The CEO said that as well, but I won't name officers who are still working at the city, but that a number, and Dale, to see you here as well, and officers who are still part of this city. Brad, so glad to see you back in the sector as well. Actually, before I touch on Cecilia, I do need to say this, and I need to say this to the council, and I need to say this to the gallery as well. It has been my experience that people who choose careers in local government could have careers anywhere and succeed. They're diligent, they're intelligent, they're qualified, and they're capable. It's a funny thing about the sector that if you see it with the perspective that I probably share, it kind of sucks you in. And it's a chance to work grassroots and deliver results at a community level. Please treat them with respect, because they are very professional, very capable, and they should be listened to. Now, there are times where there's a community perspective, and in my experience, they always respect that. But always respect officers at the city, please, because they are exceptional people. And I would not be here today if not for what I learnt from those officers, what I learnt from Troy, and what I learnt from fellow elected members who in their professional lives were officers in local government. It's a great privilege to reflect on success tonight, but those successes have only come about because I was told very early on, if you listen, you'll be all right and you'll figure your way through it. And I listened to the officers around me, as I did to phenomenal state government officers as well. One who we both shared and Jim also had a significant influence on me. But yes, my final one is my greatest secret weapon, my wife. Cecilia made me run for mayor. I actually had a really good job that I quite enjoyed, and Cecilia told me I wasn't finished yet, and too bad, I had to run. People who've worked in opposition to me never understood the power and influence of my wife. You know I'm really going because I'm sharing this with you. She's a nurse. Anyone who's either a nurse or married to a nurse knows how discerning they can be, how much they are exceptional judges of character, and their advice based on their assessment of others and how they engage with her has never steered me wrong. Also, being married to a nurse, it helps me to keep perspective because often we get very heated and you can get so caught up in the issues around this table. But everyone, you know what? The reality is it's very hard for us to make a decision that somebody dies. Whereas you go a few hundred metres down that road to Joondalup Health Campus, the largest employer in the city of Joondalup, and thousands of them are working there right now, they get one thing wrong and somebody dies. They fight in the front line of death every day. It's also meant that my wife has been at many people's side when they were in their most vulnerable, many people in this community's side, and sometimes at their last moments. Cecilia, the perspective that you've been able to share is one that many of my contemporaries have not had, nor have they understood it. And honey, this past year, you continued to care for others even as you were going through your own health battles. I'm in awe of you, and I'm in awe of all of those who work on the front line, all those heroes just down the road who are working right now. Whoever takes over from me, never forget that while what we do, it really does matter. It doesn't matter as much as what's happening at Joondalup Health Campus and at so many facilities around the city. Keep that in perspective. Finally, my two sons, Joshua and Daniel. You're probably hating this. While there have been ups and downs, and I've not always gotten everything right in office, I hope that the sum total of my time in public service is such that being my sons is a positive for you later in life, that my service is something that you can look back on with pride in years to come. To the council today, to the council to come, to our neighbouring councils and to our local MPs, I'm excited to see what you do with this community that we all share. This is the greatest community anybody could be a part of. And it's so much more vibrant and prosperous than it was when we started back in 2006. I'm excited to see what you do with it. Keep it vibrant, keep it prosperous. God bless all of you. Thank you. Next item of business is identification of matters for which the meeting may be closed to the public. There are three, which is the status of legal action report and also the CEO review and the CEO concluded salary review and the annual performance review. I'm proposing a procedural motion to change the order of business to move all confidential items to the back of the agenda. Seconded, Deputy Mayor, by a show of hands, those in favour. Against, declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is petitions. The City is in receipt of 3 petitions which are included on tonight's agenda. That is a petition in relation to abandoning the proposed construction of a footpath between Carew Place and Merivale Road in Greenwood, a petition in relation to abandoning the proposed construction of a footpath between Birch Place and Merivale Road in Greenwood, and a petition in relation to road safety improvements on Freeman Way in Marmion. I'm seeking a mover for these 3 petitions that they be received and referred to the CEO. Moved Councillor O'Neill, seconded Councillor Hamilton Prime.
Sorry, Mayor Albert Jacobs.
Yes.
I just have a declaration of interest, for this petition.
Yes.
People in Carew Place are known to me.
Yep. No, thank you, and I'll just get you to fill that in. That's an interest that may affect impartiality.
Correct, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pizzey. Noted, thank you. If no further comments, I'll put that motion and ask you to... Oh, Councillor May.
Sorry, Mr Mayor. Similar to Councillor Pizzey, a resident on Birch Place, Greenwood, is known to me. I've given the paperwork.
Thank you, Councillor May. Any further declarations before I put that motion? If not, I'll put that motion by a show of hands. Those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, we move on to the reports section of the agenda. As is our practice, I'll go around and offer elected members the opportunity to withdraw items. Deputy Mayor.
None tonight, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. I'll be withdrawing 12.5 to move the alternate, which was circulated.
Thank you. Councillor Kingston.
Thank you. Could, as the presiding member of the CEO Performance Review Committee, could you withdraw the 2 confidential ones, if that's all right?
No, I will be, and they'll be done as confidential items in any event. Councillor Jones.
No, Mr Mayor.
Councillor May.
No, thank you.
Councillor Pizzey.
Not tonight, thanks.
Councillor Hamilton Prime.
None, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Vinciulo.
None for me this evening, thank you.
Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. 12.1, 12.2 and 12.5, thank you.
Councillor Hutton's withdrawn 12.5, but yep. Thank you. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 12.6. 12.6 and 12.8, if I may.
Thank you. Councillor Fishwick.
None, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. And for me, as mentioned earlier, 13.11 and 13.12. We go then to 12.1. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendations as they are printed on page 24 of the report. Thank you.
Moved. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Chester.
Yes, just to follow on from a question that I asked at the briefing session, I drew attention to the fact that there was, in the last month, 7 development applications for unhosted short-term accommodation. As we know, the local planning scheme changed as a result primarily of directions from the state government, where a property can be rented on a short-term basis with the landowner living off-site, and these applications are now exempt from the requirement for any planning approval, and can also operate for 90 days or less than a 12-month period. I think this is the important point. They can have on the site 12 guests per night, often in a holiday mode. And I noticed in the report that came to me in the pack that there are now 48 applications on this particular use of properties. 35 received approval and there was 13 currently to be assessed. And so I would respectfully ask you to allow me to garner information from the administration on how we might manage this situation, a potential problem I see into the future. Thank you.
Ms Temple.
Thank you, through you, presiding member. Earlier this year, and I'm sorry I can't recall the exact date, Council considered a report in relation to a proposed amendment to the city's local planning scheme and also to our local planning policy that relates to short-term rental accommodation. Those documents went out for public consultation, and it's expected that the report will come back through Policy Committee in November to Council. There was a few submissions that were received, and as a consequence, it's likely that we'll be recommending some modifications to the policy. And there's also some plans to further consider the issue through the city's local planning strategy. And so that's in relation to things like adding locational criteria into the planning framework in terms of where short-term rental accommodation might be preferred by Council.
Yes, thank you. Look, my main concern in this matter is that we will have properties now that would otherwise be in quiet residential areas that could have 12 guests on site. And I guess my question was really directed at how how will we manage that in particular?
Sure. Thank you, through you, presiding member. I guess in terms of the exemption that exists under the state regulations, and you were correct in stating that unhosted short-term rental accommodation for under 90 nights in any 12-month period does not require development approval from the local government. And so in terms of what control the city might have over that, very limited control, with the exception of, I guess, if there's complaints associated with perhaps parking that might not meet the requirements under the city's local laws, or any noise issues that may not meet the relevant legislative requirements. In terms of the short-term rental accommodation over 90 nights, the way that the city controls that would obviously be through our planning framework and the parameters that we set around what we consider to be appropriate.
Thank you for that clarity.
Thank you. Seconder?
Reserve my right.
Further comments? If not, I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your vote on the screens before you. Declare the voting closed, and that motion is carried unanimously. Item 12.2, execution of documents. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendations as printed on page 27 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to commend, I suppose is a better word, the admin for engaging with Community Vision, which has a facility in Kingsley, my ward. For those that may not know what Community Vision does, they extensively deal with people with disabilities, and as such, it is worthy of consideration. What the city did, they negotiated with the leasee and reduced, I think the market valuation of the lease was something like $40,000, but the negotiations ended up with only a 10% valuation of the market value, and it is to be phased in. So I think that was a good outcome for Community Vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill.
Nothing further to add.
Further comments? I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes on the screens before you. Declare the voting closed, and the motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 12.5, Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. I'd like to move the alternate motion which was circulated.
Moved. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. Now, last year, over 300 local residents gathered at the Currambine Community Centre to discuss the ongoing odour issues at Tamala Park. The meeting played a critical role in informing the way that we as your local representatives are trying to tackle this problem. What was made clear by locals was that they want to see the facility closed as soon as possible. This position differed from the strategy presented by Mindarie Regional Council, the TIPS operator, who wanted to see approximately half of red bin waste diverted to a new facility in Perth South. If this were to happen in isolation, the expected life of the TIP would have extended from 2027 to 2029. Thankfully, due to a number of factors, this proposal has stalled. Since the community form, as a member of both the Joondalup Council and Catalina Regional Council, I've subsequently moved motions to request MRC investigate all options to expedite the closure of Tamala Park. Both of these motions, which I believe to be in line with the wishes of the community, have passed unanimously and now form the official positions of COJ and CRC. Unfortunately, MRC to date has not agreed to these requests. In addition, on the 28th of November 2024, an environmental protection notice was issued by DWR to MRC with 11 rectification issues being identified. The most recent minutes of MRC's Odour Management Key Stakeholder Working Group reflect that these 11 issues have now been complete. With these actions now having taken place, the question is, has the odour improved at Tamala Park? The answer I'm hearing loud and clear from the community is no, it hasn't. And in fact, in some instances, it is getting worse. With this being the case, I'm of the opinion that as a council, we now need to take our advocacy to the next level to expedite the closure of this facility. Given we are currently in caretaker period, the power of council is limited. However, I implore the incoming council to continue giving this issue the attention it deserves. Now, given it is his last meeting, I would also like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the guidance that has been provided by Mayor Albert Jacob as the City of Joondalup has sought to address these ongoing issues and concerns. Whoever steps into the role of Mayor going forward has some big shoes to fill in helping the Council address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thanks through you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to just comment that to my fellow elected members and some candidates who are in the audience, the importance of an orderly management of the odour issues at Tamala Park and an orderly transition to closure of Tamala Park landfill site. I take these matters very seriously and I do everything I can to assist in minimising the odour issues and also encouraging, advocating for closure of the landfill site, preferably by the end of calendar year 2027. I also note we have in the audience tonight elected members and mayors from City of Stirling and City of Wanneroo. I cannot emphasise enough how important it is to residents of Kinross and Catalina that immediately live next to Tamala Park landfill, that all of the MRC member councils are seen to be doing everything they can to assist in overcoming these issues. So I do encourage all of us to work together on this going forwards, and I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Just a brief comment from myself. As someone who, up until the most recent boundary adjustment, lived in the North Ward and still lives at the north of the city, this is an ongoing issue for the northern end of the City of Joondalup. It's particularly this winter and the winter before, it's getting much, much worse. I know for those of my neighbours who are here, I know they can smell it on winter's evenings. I know it affects the City of Wanneroo deeply, and it's one of the priorities, I believe, for the council going forward. I also want to acknowledge the work, in particular the Wanneroo MRC members who are both here. While we as Joondalup are obviously pushing it, I want to acknowledge Jordan and Paul, both of you, the work that you've been doing, because I know it affects your communities as well. I also want to acknowledge the work that Jan Norberger has done and Jan, I should have mentioned you earlier for your work on Ocean Reef Marina, and also when I mentioned Paul, for the work we've done joined up in the Northern Corridor for this region. And this is a great example of that. Solving Mindarie Regional Council will continue to require a joined-up effort across tiers of government and also across the two councils and those who are involved. But usually, well, not usually, often, and I talked earlier about it keeping perspective, this is one where I'm surprised how tolerant our community is, particularly in Kinross, but also in Burns Beach, Joondalup, Aluka and Currumbine, given what it does smell like, particularly for the last 3 months. At least the winds are changing now, and it's Wanneroo's problem for a few months before it returns to us. Further comments? Councillor Fishwick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I certainly support the alternate motion, given the effects of leachate on those residents surrounding the Tamala Park site. So the sooner that we can close that landfill site, the better. And I think there's an opportunity then to explore other options, disposing of our waste, perhaps with a waste energy plant in the Northern Corridor. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Hutton, do you wish to close?
Excuse me,
Councillor Chester, please.
Thank you. As a fairly long-standing member of the Catalina Regional Council, I just want to make a brief comment about the financial position of the Regional Council. I don't want to speak directly to the amendment. Could I do that, please?
It's an alternate motion, so that's appropriate.
All right.
Yep.
Look, due to tight management and a very buoyant real estate market, the council made a profit, and I'm sure other councillors will be interested in this fact, which I got directly from the CEO this afternoon. A profit of $70 million was made, and the distribution will be 1/6 of that for the current financial year, which means we'll be receiving $11.67 million, and the same will be distributed next financial year as well. So I must say that everyone should be pleased with that.
Thank you. Councillor Hutton, do you wish to close? I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes on the screens before you. Declare the voting closed and the item is carried unanimously. Item 12.6, list of payments. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the item as written.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? I'm happy to second. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you. Nothing much really to add. I did read the information that came back after the briefing session. A couple of queries which I will raise up with the city, just a couple of things that sort of pop up in terms of the amounts that are being paid to external consultancy services. But that's something obviously we can address with the new council.
Thank you. Further comments? I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and the motion is carried. Next item is item 12.8. Councillor O'Neill.
I'd like to move the item as written, please.
Thank you. So moved. Do I have a seconder? Seconded. Councillor Hutton. Councillor O'Neill.
Nothing further to add. Happy with all the responses from the city and thank you for their work.
Thank you. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and that motion is carried. I'll then seek a mover for an exception resolution that pursuant to clause 4.83 of the Meeting Procedures Local Law, Council adopts the following items being item 12.3, 12.4, sorry, 12.3, oh no, you're right, thank you, that's my mistake. 12.4, 12.7, and that is all. Moved Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor May. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and that motion is carried. Thank you. Next item is reports of the CEO, of which there are none. Urgent business, of which there is none. And motions of which previous notice has been given, of which there is none. So I therefore propose a motion to close the meeting to members of the public. If some of you do still wish to hang around, hopefully catch up with you in a minute, but completely understand if you have to go, we have to consider 3 items behind closed doors. And I won't read out, I won't read out the entirety of the motion because it's particularly long, but those 3 items being the status of legal action report, the CEO annual performance review, the salary review for the CEO, and that we permit most of the officers, you'll see on the screen before you, for the first one, which we will deal with. Then we permit only Mr Pearson, Director Parry and Kylie for the second, and that we only permit Mr Parry and Ms Bergman for the third. Put that motion, seconded Deputy Mayor, and I ask you, by a show of hands, to cast your vote. Those for, those against, declare it carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Kingston.
Thank you. Just get it up. I advised the meeting that a complaint was made to the Local Government Standards Panel in which it was alleged that I contravened Clause 18 of the Model Code of Conduct, Schedule 1 of the Local Government Model Code of Conduct Regulations 2021 when I made certain comments on Facebook regarding comments made by Councillor May and his voting record in respect of a motion before Council relating to a draft coastal hazard risk management and adaptation plan. The State Administrative Tribunal has found that I breached Clause 18 of the Model Code of Conduct when I made a comment on Facebook accusing Councillor May of disseminating misinformation regarding the peer review of that draft plan. I acknowledge that I should not have made that comment, and I now apologise to Councillor May. Apologise to Councillor May for having done so.
Thank you, Councillor Kingston. Council, I propose that Council resumes the operation of Clause 4.3 of the City of Joondalup Meeting Procedures Local Law 2013 Order of Business. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Deputy Mayor. By show of hands, those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Announcements of notices of motion for their next meeting. Are there any, Council? Councillor Pizzi.
I have a notice of motion that is with the City already. It's in regards to the turtle tracking programs run between the City of Wanneroo and Joondalup.
Thank you. That brings us to the closure.
Sorry.
Oh, Councillor Hutton.
Sorry, I'll also foreshadow. I did have a previously submitted notice of motion that was to do with Wise Street in Joondalup. That was obviously rejected due to the caretaker policy. I will be resubmitting that next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Further announcements? If not, before I go to close the meeting, and Mason, seeing you walk back in particular, I even modelled this meeting on my predecessor's final meeting. And one thing that Troy had said that I thought was a grand comment to make was, the job comes with this gavel. Other mayors have used it. Previous mayor only used it once, and this is the first and only time I'm using this gavel. And I formally declare this meeting closed. Thank you.